Hello everyone and welcome to Ecstasy Crafts. Today I have prepared two little card tutorials for you guys to recreate using the awesome It's Tea Time bundle from Couture Creations. I'm going to flip my camera over and show you guys the cards as well as these awesome little stamps and dies that work together. Alright, these are the two cards that I will be teaching you how to make. This one is actually using every element that comes in the bundle in this one card. You've got the die, the stamp, background stamp, and the sentiment stamp. And this one is using the dies, the background stamp, and the sentiment stamp here. So inside the bundle, you will be getting that lovely background stamp with all the teapots and teacups. Then you will be getting this stamp set, which is what was used on this card. And it also comes with a coordinating die set, which will cut out these elements that you have stamped. And last but not least, there is the sentiment stamp set that's got all these adorable puns with tea. Keep watching and have some fun. All right, so the first card we're going to make is going to be this adorable tea time card where I use basically everything in this kit on this one card. So let's get started. So the first step will be using this stamp set, and we're going to want to take out the pot and the cup. So I'm going to be using the Lisa Horton stamping platform for this today. And the paper for what I'm going to be die cutting out and stamping on is going to be this Prism cardstock. It's for watercoloring from Hunky Dory. So I'm just going to tape this in my platform. I'm going to take my stamps and I'm going to stamp those. So I'm going to be using this Cloud 9 solid black ink from Lisa Horton. This is going to be perfect for my watercoloring. And then I'm just going to put that in the platform and stamp it down. All right, now I'm going to take this out of the platform and I'm going to color that in. I'm going to be using this Art by Marlene Studio Light watercolor set, and I'm going to start by spritzing this with some water first, just to activate the colors. And I'm going to use a water brush as well. I also am going to have just a scrap piece of paper to make sure I've got the colors that I want. I'm going to first start by squeezing and getting a bit of water in here. I've already got a bit of green at the top of my palette, so I'm going to pick up some green and apply that into the top of here. Just see what that color looks like. It's a little bit too dark, so I'm going to pick up that lighter green color and add that in. Looks a little bit better. Then I'm going to pick up some white and add some white into that. So I should be good now. So I'm going to just start by going all over the pot. And I'm going to start at the bottom kind of, so that's where it's going to be darker. And then as I run out of color, I'm going to start bringing it to the top a bit more and get a bit more color back on my brush. And we'll go back in again. All right, now I'm going to add to my highlighted area where it's going to be a bit darker. So I'm really going to concentrate this brush on a lot of pigment. Take just a little bit off, and where it's got this shadowing where the stamp is, I'm going to focus the color just along there. And it doesn't matter if I'm going outside of the lines because this is going to be die cut after. And anywhere I see that shadowing from the stamp, I'm just going to make sure I go in with a dark color. And obviously it doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to blend it with some more color after. So now going back in, grab a bit more of that green. I'm just going to grab a bit of white, lighten it up just a little bit. And I'm going to start to kind of do a bit of shading. So I'm going to add more color to the bottom, the sides, and just underneath that lid there a little bit. And then take a little bit off my brush, get it a little bit more wet. That looks good. I'm just going to take a paper towel because my brush is a bit too wet that I don't want, and start to blend that color that I just applied and really focusing it out of the center so the center looks like it's got a nice shine to it and it'll look like it's more realistic. So blend some areas I may have missed. And then just go back in where I see needed, if it needs a bit darker of shadowing. All right, that looks good. Now I'm going to do the teacup, and I'm going to do it all around, just avoiding the middle plate here. Same idea that I just did. I'm going to apply that green all over the mug. It's a nice light color. Apply it to the bottom plate. And if I get a bit of green, it won't matter in that middle plate because I'm going to end up going over top with the blue, so the blue and the green will be okay together. Now I'm going to go in and add that shading where it's dark, so definitely at the bottom, in the corners, and then around the edges. And then take a bit off that brush again and just blend a little bit into the middle there, and then we're going to add some more shading to the mug itself. So the bottom of the mug, around the handle, and then I'm just going to do a bit of shading to make it look realistic. So I've just gone around the edge, you can see. Now I'm going to, with no color, mainly just water, just going to blend that a bit more. Go back in, add that dark right along the edge. All right, that looks good. Now I'm going to add some blue in here. So I'm going to grab this turquoisey blue color, get my brush a bit wet, and I've got a bit of color there already. So pick up that turquoise, apply it down, test it off. It's a little bit too wet, my brush, so I'm going to take a little bit of water off, go back into there, and then I'm going to add that color. Same idea, going along the edges, and then take some color off so it's a bit more muted, and then subtly bringing that into the middle, and then just make sure the outside edges are nice and blended. Then same thing for the bottom stripe. And then for the cup. Around the top again, I'm just going to add that nice pigment, like so, and then take a little bit off my brush and start to kind of blend that in the middle of it, making sure it's not too pigmented. I want it really subtle in the middle and more gradual ombre look. So, like that. Now I'm going to do the middle plate using the same idea. Make sure it's nice and concentrated at the bottom where the shading is, and then take a bit of color off so it's not too pigmented as I go around and blend the rest. Now I just cleaned my brush a little bit. I'm going to go in with a bit of a tea color, a nice little brown, with a little bit of pink, and add that into the middle of the cup. And then you could go in and add the blue to all the polka dots like I did here, but I'm just going to leave it for now. I could always go back in later if I wanted to, and I just realized I did miss the bottom with that turquoise color on the mug, so I'm just going to go in and add that now. A bit too wet. Right, perfect. Now we're going to die cut this out, and I'm going to put this away. All right, so I'm just going to take my teapot and my cup die out, And I'm just going to use some low-tack tape. This is from Studio Light. It's one of my favorites. And I just need a little bit, so I'm going to tear just a small amount off and tape this into place so it doesn't move when I run it through the die cutting machine. Looks good. Tape it down. And then my mug. All right, so I'm going to run this through my machine now. All right, now I'm just going to pop those elements out and we'll set them aside for now. Now I'm actually going to die cut, since I've got my machine out already, that vellum that is there for the steam coming out of the mug. So I've just got a scrap piece of vellum here. Just stick my die cut in here. And then run that through the machine. All right, now I'm going to take that out and just set that aside. I'm actually going to put it on my card so that way I don't lose it. And now we're going to stamp our background image. So I am just using some cardstock from the Studio Light Essentials Pastels. And I'm going to grab the same color I used last time, which is this darker blue. I'm going to tape this in the platform. And then using the background stamp, I'm going to stamp with this VersaFine Warm Breeze color. I just feel like it's that perfect color to go over top of the background color I have picked. So I'm just going to place my stamp down. And I'm going to pick it up. And then ink. And just make sure I've got everything inked. I can always go back a second time if I need to, but it's easier just to do one and done. So I'm going to put that down, apply some pressure all over the stamp to make sure everything gets evenly pushed down. And so after you get your paper out, I'm actually going to turn it around. And I'm going to, since this is going to be where my sentiment background color is, I'm just going to use the other end of that. And from the sentiment pack, I have used the Tea Time stamp. So just the little one there, but it comes with so many different options. This is just the size that I like to fit in that nice corner small. So I'm going to put this in the corner of my page not to waste too much cardstock. Pick up the stamp, and using the exact same color that I used for my background, I'm going to use that for the sentiment. That looks good. I think I might go a second time just to make it nice and dark. All right, perfect. Nice and dark. I just realized I didn't add enough pressure for tea, so I'm going to go back in with tea. There we go. Now we're good. Okay, I'm going to take this out and I'm going to trim down the background and trim the sentiment off. So I'm just using this Hunky Dory guillotine. All right, so I've got my background, and then I'm going to do my tea time sentiment. All right, now we are going to frame both the sentiment and the background here. So I'm going to glue both of these down using my 450 quick drying glue. And honestly, I am not one to measure, I'm one to eyeball, so I just eyeball, see if it looks centered enough to me, then a bit of glue on the back of the sentiment. All right, now using the guillotine, I'm going to cut this down by just eyeballing again, because that's what I do best. to cut this. My glue's not fully dry yet, so I'm moving my center around. Just gotta put it back in its place and trim off the tiniest little amount off that. Alright, so the sentiment is done. And now I'm just going to create one more border behind my card base. Alright, using that scrap piece that I cut out earlier, all of this from, I'm just going to add some glue to the back of the black and do the exact same thing with the blue that I just did with the black. Just guessing and cutting around to create another frame. Now I'm going to trim this up. Now let's piece this together. I'm just going to use a little bit of a foam piece and this shaping tool with the ball at the end, just because after it's been watercolored, it's got a bit of a bend to it. So I want it to bend the opposite way that it's bending right now. So I'm just going to apply some circular pressure to make it fold back and look a bit round. I'm doing this both to the teapot and to the mug. Okay, so that looks good. You can see it's got that arch out now. Now using some 3D foam tabs, I'm just going to stick a few to the back of my teapot and my mug. All right, so now I'm going to just place where the rest of everything's going to go. So that way I know where to place my teapot. And then place that down. Right, and then I'll do my sentiment and the steam last. Right, that looks good. And this is a sticky spec sheet. This is obviously, you can see, has been well loved. So it is a bunch of micro adhesive dots. Probably won't show very well on camera, but these are perfect for sticking acetate and parchment down, because these are the tiniest little dots. You don't actually see them. And I can see I did lose, even though I thought having it there would be safe. I lost my other steam. So I'm gonna have to die cut another steam and then we'll add that on. All right, I cut out another steam and I'm gonna stick that down, apply some pressure to make sure it picks up that adhesive. Then grabbing my handy little hook tool from Studio Light, I'm gonna pick that up and place that down on my mug. I'm going like that, and then the other one will be a little bit higher. All right, so this is our first card done. You can see they are pretty well identical, other than I've added some blue onto the teapot on my first card. And then this one just has no blue, but it's still really nice. And I wanted to show you something else you could also do with this. Same card, but I actually added, using the hot foil pen from Couture Creations, I added the foiling and it makes it look a lot more like vintage and real, which is really cool. So lots of different styles and ways you can use this stamp and die set. thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section. I'll try my best to answer as fast as I can. It is, again, the bundles for an amazing deal. You're getting quite the discount, so make sure you check it out. Plus, all of the additional items that I used in today's card tutorial, like the papers, the sticky mitts, and some of the tools, that is all on our website, ecstasycrafts.com as well. And we do ship worldwide if we have any new customers watching. Take care, everyone. Have a good day.